All right, guys, Wes here. Welcome back to the channel. And today we've got some big news to talk about for Starfield, as we just got our first update to the game that added some well-needed fixes and improvements, as well as some performance and stability updates. But we'll talk about that in just a bit. Now, we just got our first update from Bethesda regarding future support, everything from mod support, DLSS, and FOV slider, 32:9 ultra-wide monitor support, and a ton of other stuff that we're going to talk about. Next up, it would not be a Bethesda game if there was not a major exploit discovered. For all of my OGs that remember the Whiterun out of bounds glitch, that similar thing was discovered for Starfield. This time it has to do with a puddle, which was very interesting. Next up, Nvidia just released a brand new driver for Nvidia GPUs, which according to the early reports has some slight improvements to the performance, so that's always good. So I'm going to talk about that and so much more, so check the video chapters to optimize your viewing experience, and without further delay, let's get into it. So first things first, Bethesda brought us our first big update to Starfield that brought us some well-needed fixes and improvements. If you guys recently loaded up your game and saw an update either on PC or Xbox, you might be wondering what is in that update. Well, the update version was 1.7.29, and it offered some well-needed fixes and improvements that improved stability and performance. According to the patch notes for Xbox Series X and S, they improved stability related to installations, and they also did some various stability and performance improvements to reduce crashes and improve the frame rate. And no, if you guys are on Xbox Series X or S, that does not mean that they're improving the frame rate above 30 FPS. The game will still be 30, but there are certain times on console where the game does go below 30 FPS. So these updates are meant to improve the frame rate and keep it locked at that 30 FPS mark, because if it goes under, then it's just a bad experience. But if you guys have been crashing in the game, here's to hoping that that fixes most of those crashes and it improves the frame rates. Moving right along, we got some updates for the quests in Starfield. Now, for the all that money can buy quest, they fixed an issue where player activity could result in a quest blocker. And then for the into the unknown quest, they fixed an issue that could prevent the quest from appearing after the game is completed. And then moving to the shadows and neon quest, they fixed an issue where player activity could result in a quest blocker. Now, unfortunately, I'm still not able to do the May Divine Red Mile quest, which is super unfortunate. Like, I really want to get that done so I can 100% my initial save. I tested the quest on my second playthrough and it was perfectly fine, so I think it might be just an issue on my current save. Who knows? Hopefully they were able to find that issue and solve it. If not, I guess I'll just have to resort to using console commands, but if you guys have a solution in the comments, let me know. Now, before I talk about all of the new features that are going to be added to Starfield and all of those updates, I'd first like to talk about the new driver update for Nvidia GeForce users. This is all thanks to Starfield News on Twitter. They tweeted out a driver update for Nvidia GeForce users. They then said game ready driver 537.34 update makes changes for Starfield, so I advise you update ASAP. And then they said that they're seeing some reports of slight increases to performance. According to the patch notes of the game ready driver, they said that they fixed Starfield resizable bar profile added, which improves performance by 5% on average. The update will be pushed via over-the-air OTA update from Nvidia and will be automatically applied for gamers running the latest game ready driver 537.34 or previous release 537.17. And then the Starfield profile was updated for the Microsoft Store and Xbox Game Pass version of the game. All right, next up, we finally got some comments from Bethesda Game Studios. We got a new PR statement from them that goes over future updates to the game, mod support, and the top community requested features. So according to the blog, they said this, and I quote, "First, an enormous thank you to all of you playing Starfield and your support. We are absolutely blown away by the response and all you love about the game. We're also reading all of your great feedback and what you'd like to see improved or added to the game. This is a game that we'll be supporting for years and years to come, so please keep all of the feedback coming. Even if we don't get to all of your requests immediately, we'd love to do it in the future." Like city maps. Now, I just love that Bethesda is just confirming that they know that people want city maps and local maps to return. The current local map in Starfield is just not very good, so having some terrain and to be able to view a city map and just have all of your quest objectives on there would be great. So I'm glad to see that they've acknowledged that and have said that they're ready and willing to add that feature. They then continued by saying, "Our priority initially is making sure any top blocker bugs or stability issues are addressed and adding quality of life features that many are asking for." They then said that this first update is a small hotfix targeted at a few of the top issues we're seeing. After that, expect a regular interval of updates that have top community requested features, including brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, an FOV slider, Nvidia DLSS support for PC. Let's just hope that they either add Nvidia DLSS 3.1.1 or at least fix the issue in DLSS 3.5 that has the flickering in game. Now, I also really hope that the frame generation technology of Nvidia DLSS is supported in Starfield. If they just add like DLSS 2, that wouldn't really make sense to me. It would be kind of an unfortunate situation because there's a mod right now that makes the game run insanely good if you have a 4000 GPU with that Nvidia DLSS 3.5 with frame generation support. Next up, they're going to be adding 32:9 ultra wide monitor support for PC. And finally, an eat button for food. Just like every other Bethesda game, there's an eat button in the previous games. This one, you have to pick the item up and then go to your inventory and eat the food, which honestly is a feature I didn't know that I needed in previous Bethesda games until Starfield didn't have it. So yeah, glad that they're adding that. Hopefully that gets done soon. Now, since we're on the topic of requested features, I really hope that Bethesda updates the looting inventory and just the overall inventory screen. Having just the text whenever you're trying to loot somebody is okay, but like there is a ton of items in Starfield and some of the stuff that people just don't even know what they are. So you're kind of picking up stuff that you don't really know what it is. So if you had like an indicator that said like food, ammunition, miscellaneous, and resources, that would be super helpful. So we can kind of distinguish what we should pick up and what we shouldn't. Since the entire game loop of Starfield is around looting, having a system where you know what you're picking up is something that would be very beneficial for new players and honestly just for veterans of the game as well. There is a lot of items in the game that I personally don't know what every single thing is. So having an indicator that we can kind of quickly distinguish what that item is would be very beneficial. And funny enough, there's already a mod for it, but I'd love to see it officially supported by Bethesda themselves. They're pretty smart over there, so I'm sure they could figure out some sort of quality of life update for quick looting and just the overall inventory management system. Jumping back into the Bethesda statement on their blog, they said this, and I quote, "We're also working closely with Nvidia, AMD, and Intel on driver support, and each update will include new stability and performance improvements." So that's always good to see. Now, next up, this next section, we're going to talk about mods because we finally got an update on when they're going to be officially supporting modding. In the blog, they said this: "Additionally, we are working on our built-in mod support called Creations that will work across all platforms similar to what we've done with Skyrim and Fallout 4. This full support is planned to launch early next year. Until then, we know the PC community is already very active in the modding space, and if you have any feedback on how we can make that better, please let us know. Modding and creating in our games will always be a vital and important part of who we are, and we love seeing the community get off to such a strong start. Keep the feedback coming, we really do read it all, and thank you again for taking this journey with us." Now, what's interesting is they didn't really use the Creation Club by name, which almost gives me the perception that they're changing the name from Creation Club to just Creations on the game. With all of the controversy that went down regarding Creation Club, it does make sense that they would change that name, even though I didn't really see a problem with how they implemented it in Skyrim and Fallout 4, but maybe they just didn't like the Creation Club name and they decided to change it. Who knows? Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Creation Club returned, but I think rebranding that name to just Creations is actually pretty cool, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see until early next year. So now we have to talk about the brand new exploit that was found. For those of you that have played Skyrim and just other Bethesda games, you know that there's always going to be a big infinite money glitch, a vendor glitch, or of course the Skyrim classic Whiterun out of bounds glitch, which brings me back to the days of Skyrim. Like I remember doing that glitch the first time and then going to tell my brother and dad about it, and then of course their jaws just completely dropped, and then we abused the glitch a little bit and then went back to our other save to just continue playing the game normally. But that is just a classic glitch from that game. So this first glitch was actually spotted by Redditor Heretic0, and it revolves around a small puddle outside of Shepherd's General Store in Aquila City. Now the way you do it is you have to shift into third person, crouch, and then move to the small puddle directly outside of Shepherd's General Store, and then profit. You could steal all of the loot without any sort of repercussions, and then of course rinse and repeat after the vendor resets. But the big Whiterun style glitch was found by a YouTuber named V Navarra, and it essentially involves you going to the commercial district of New Atlantis, crossing over the waterfall, and then going through a gap of the map along the cliffside. And then once you're under the map in New Atlantis, you then can work your way to the vendor shops where all of their loot is stored in chests a few feet below the actual buildings. Now the place that gets the most credits is actually the ship services technician, whose chest actually contains 72,000 credits, and you're able to rob that more than once. I've got a video link to the V Navarra's instructions in the description, so if you guys want to check it out and have some fun. Obviously, like if you want an infinite money glitch and you're on PC, just use console commands to have some fun with the game. So you don't really need to do the glitch, but if you're on console and you want to play around with some stuff, then go for it. Have some fun and just reminisce of the old school Skyrim days where you're trying to jump over the wall into Whiterun so you can get that easy free loot. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are on all of the updates and news for Starfield. Are you guys excited to play this game once the mod support is released for Xbox console? Let me know down below. Also, guys, do me a favor, leave a like, subscribe to the channel with your notifications turned on if you enjoyed my coverage, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.